welcome back to the Patch Clash Showdown number 6, a show match series featuring a brand new mod. Let's go, baby, let's go. It is a balance mod, of course, introducing and featuring a bunch of changes to every single race, new upgrades, new adjustments, new features, and some changes to some of the core elements of each race as well. I will say that in the last series, we didn't really get to showcase it that much. Shout out to GreenArT. I do think the GreenArT was doing a good job at just using the just avoiding warp gates and just creating units as they were from said gateways, which is a little bit more viable in the latest patch. And we did see some of the new upgrades, like the new Storm, we saw Charge, we saw the new Charge Shield upgrade, we saw a little bit from the Adepts, like we saw a little bit here and there from GreenArT, but the series and the games didn't really last very long, so it just didn't really allow for those units and those upgrades to really breathe. We'll see if we can get there here. So far this morning in the bottom right hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Polish Protoss player, we have the pink Protoss representing the Planet Heroes. It is ArT. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the yellow Zerg player representing Team Roddy from Lena, Sweden. It is Fjant. Here we go. Welcome on to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet being one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Shorter rushes and by ground aggression can be favored on this map, and we'll see how our players do open up. First things first, it's going to be Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of Fjant. Likewise, ArT going for his own gate expand. So far, so good. Standard openers all around, but we'll see how our players do delve in towards the early and mid game. Again, bearing in mind that a bunch of changes were made, a bunch of upgrades were added. One of the big changes, of course, which I don't think will be too applicable to ZVP, I'll be honest, was the Roach. The Roach, for example, now has an upgrade in the late game. It has a Hive Tech upgrade to reduce its supply from 2 to 1, which does make massing Roaches more viable. And I can see that's working against Terran if you go for Roach base play and Roach base openers, especially against Mech. I feel like that's probably the best case scenario for it, but I don't know if it really has too much value against Protoss. You know what would be crazy? Like, we don't have a ZVZ here tonight, but I'm thinking like a ZVZ Roach versus Roach, and instead of taking up into Hydra Lurker, you get a Hive and you go into one supply Roaches. Like, that'd be crazy. That'd be insane. Yeah, so Roach Wars might have a different kind of dynamic to them in ZVZ if that becomes a thing. But again, we just haven't covered as like a ZVZ, and I don't even know if, because ZVZs are so rare to begin with, I don't know if that's even just happened, period, in the history of the patch tournaments. But definitely something interesting to think about. Regardless, it is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of ArT. Hyper aggressive, does stay in gas. Okay, so it does stay in gas. So there's a high chance it's going to be a Twilight Council into a Dark Shrine, for example, into a DT drop. We otherwise could be seeing early, if it's going to be early Blink, there'd be something else alongside this. Yeah, there it is, Dark Shrine, it's going to be on the way. If we had pulled out of gas, I'd be thinking Glaive Adepts. Because we stayed in, it is Dark Templar. Overlord Scout is coming in for Fjant, and Fjant will be able to catch wind of this. The Stalker will be able to focus this down, but too little too late, the Overlord will confirm. So nice scout here by Fjant. Gets eyes on the tech, gets eyes on the Dark Shrine. Now, we just mentioned something as ArT does go for the proxy pylon across the map, is that DTs have been nerfed when it comes to their early damage. They do have some more interesting upgrades later on throughout the course of the game and into a longer game state. But this early on here, going for, true. Okay. I mean, that's a way to bypass it. So if you're curious what's happening here, I alluded to this previously, and now we can delve into it. But Warp Gate was nerfed. Warp Gate was nerfed in this patch. I mean, I said it was nerfed. It was. Now, whenever you warp in across the map, if you're not near a Nexus, then the warped in units warps in without any shields. As you can see here, bam, no shields, no shield. But that is why we have the proxy shield battery to make up for that otherwise I was gonna say design flaw, but that otherwise deficit. So there it is, we do fully heal up those Dark Templar. Another change that coincides with the fact that they warp in without any shields is that DTs are only cloaked if they have full shields. So there we go, we do cloak them in. They do hit the third base, and with that, the base is under fire. Spore is going to be repositioning. And just a really unique way to make use of kind of like the flaws that we have here. But there we go, DTs are going to be dealt with, and thankfully Fjant did have his Spore in position, Why? I mean, he scouted. Like, he scouted the Dark Shrine. He was ready for it regardless. But a really unique way to kind of bypass some of the kind of obstacles in your path when it comes to harassing with Dark Templar. It's really cool. It's a really cool way to do it. Bearing in mind that the shield battery also does morph in with full energy, and that was not always the case, or that is not the case in the base game. That's also a way to make use of that as well. In general, this would be a way to bypass this issue, not just when it comes to proxy Dark Templar, but proxy locations in general. Like, you can set up proxy pylons with batteries just to make sure you can harass across the map and harass a little bit more effectively as well with those extra shields. So it's really cool. I really appreciate it. It's definitely thought was put into it, I should say, from ArT. To put some thought into it. Behind this, we are going to be settling in. I thought I turned on tooltips. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not sorry. I was trying to look it up earlier. We do have an upgrade on the way in the Dark Shrine. Oh, it's a Stalker upgrade. Okay. That's why I was a little bit confused. That is called Tachyon Emitters. Okay, yeah, we need to see it now. Tachyon Emitters. So it's a Dark Shrine upgrade for the Stalker, and it actually allows the Stalker to have increased range. It's a little bit reminiscent of, say, the Dragoon upgrade. So very interesting. So increased range. Jesus, that's crazy. I mean, that does mean so this actually leads one into the other. That also means the Dark Shrine is a little bit more valuable as well as an opener, because it does have more value coming into the mid game for the Blink Stalker. True. So increased range. At the same time, we do have the Corrosive Bile upgrade on the way. Prism is going to be zoned away, zoned back, and Roaches, they do punish. We're going to collapse on the army. When it comes to the Ravager upgrade, I believe that upgrade does reduce the time it takes for the Bile to land, I believe. As Roaches, they start to step in, they get onto the initial expansion. The fourth base is going to be 9. That's a kill! That's a kill, not a cancel. Ay. Yeah, brutal pickup. At the same time, Archon does harass across the map. Queens are defending, and Fjant's pushing in. He's going for the kill, catching out the Stalkers. Clutch blinks there out of ArT. ArT does blink away. Yeah, Rapid Expulsion is finishing. It's gonna be rapid, Pappy. Aye. So ArT does hold on. Did lose a fourth base though. Like, ArT has been stifled quite heavily here. No fourth expansion, limited economy, and Fjant can soon morph in those Ravagers. Soon morph them in. Did go for the Spire. Mutas, they attempt to harass. Stalkers getting called out. Here come the flanking Roaches. They're coming in. Badly. Forced to recall. Getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Stalkers. Ay. Yo, we got some boys in the mix as well. There we go. Get out of here, Jones. Get out of here. Interesting to see that we did get the Ravager upgrade, but no Ravagers. Did not morph them in, but is going for the base nonetheless. Is going for the expansion. Will force a cancel. Colossus is revealed. We just see Fjant even mixing in a couple of Infestors. Interesting. Do we see the Infested Terran? I don't think there's really much need for it here, but yeah. I mean, I feel like Fungals would be a little bit more useful. There we go. Ravager's now morphing in. As we mentioned, the Biles are going to be that much more effective here. Essentially, the opposing player has less time to react and to respond to split against that Biles. Like, which will be a huge upgrade for ZVZ, to be honest. Like, so much of ZVZ, especially mid-game ZVZ, hinges on Roach Ravager battles and Roach Ravager engagements, and reducing or making splits a little bit more punishing, or making piles more punishing, it would change that dynamic quite heavily as well. It actually makes Roach Ravager more viable against Lurker tech alongside that. One of the things that ZVZ, once one Zerg player gets into Lurkers, is that they slow the game down. They typically force the other player to also get into Lurkers themselves. But now with that bile upgrade, it does mean that you have a way, or now you have a much more secure way to deal with Lurkers and to deal with siege-based units. It also makes it more viable against mech, against bio, against everything. Yeah, it's crazy. Not just that upgrade, as we are building up infestors, infested Terran, by the way. But it makes it more like that upgrade alongside the Roach supply upgrade just makes Roach Ravager just a little more viable in general in all matchups. There we go, show us the Terrans. Ooh, Fungal does land. But with this overwhelming amount of Stalkers here, Fjant, we need more army here, we need more Roaches. Yeah, Infested going down, 2 left. 2 left, but at the same time, there's the army. Lings are across the map, Lings are in the main, they're in the 4th, and they're in the 3rd. Everything is going down, ArT is forced all in. He's forced into the all-in. I do like this visual change. As you can see, the force fields, they do kind of color change as they run out, as just a visual indicator. You know, Fungal does land. We need more Roaches, though. All the infestors are full. We didn't get to see the infested Terran, no. But there's 4 Colossus. Oh my, the juggling. And the Colossus is doing well. Piles are landing. Can he get on top of the Colossus? They're still so low. Do we have more Biles? Not quite. Yeah, no more Biles here. At the same time, Lings, they killed the 3rd, they killed the 4th base, but it looks like ArT may have too much. Yeah, ArT has too much here with 4 Colossus. They do not go down. He's like, you know, you're being all fancy here with all these upgrades with GG. GG gets called. ArT snowballs out of control, and he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Fjant being all fancy here, going into the Ravager upgrade, going into further tech. But no, in the end, we saw that ArT, even though he was sustaining a lot of damage across the map, and he was struggling to get into an economic game, he was just able to build up into 4 Colossus and just send it across the map. I believe didn't even have the new Colossus upgrade, unfortunately. Didn't even have Scorching Flames. Maybe next time, but GG. GG, well played. With that, unfortunately, Fjant, he was exposed, he was vulnerable due to so much of his supply being across the map harassing, and he did not have enough to defend. Barely not. We didn't even get to discuss the Infestor, but I don't know if you saw, but the Infestors, they're a little bit similar to the Reaver, where the Reaver kind of builds up Scarabs, right? They build Scarabs over time, they build them up inside them before they can fire them out. Similar with the Infestor now, the Infestor builds up Infested Terran inside them over time, and then you can launch them. So that was what the indicator was on those Infestors. They were incubating them. But here we go. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of a title citadel, we have the yellow Zerg player. The yellow Zerg. We have the Swedish Zerg down in the series. We'll see if you can bounce back and make a series out of this. Representing Team Brody, it is Fjant. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the pink Protoss player, the pink Protoss himself, the Polish Protoss. Representing the Platinum Heroes, it is ArT. Let's go. What is the DT upgrade? Yeah, as we were mentioning, it's a Stalker upgrade on the Dark Shrine, which I do really appreciate. It just gives the Dark Shrine a little bit more viability, or it just gives it a little bit more to the Protoss army, a little bit more value, I should say. As a tech path, as an opener. As ArT does move out. Show us what you got. So far, hatch pool opener out of Fjant, going for delayed gases. But yeah, for better or for worse, some of the ramifications of the Ravager upgrade is ZVZ and is going to be its interaction with Lurker tech, and I mean, it does. I want to say it's going to force ZVZ to be more Roach centric and more Roach heavy, for good or for better for worse. You might argue that's a better thing than forcing Lurker versus Lurker and then Viper versus Viper. Like, Viper versus Viper is not the most dynamic or interesting unit interaction. Yeah, it's pretty awful, actually. Again, if you're watching and if you know anything about late game ZVZ, say Dark versus Scarlet, for example, or Dark versus Rogue, or Rogue versus Shin, or Shin versus Dark. There's a lot of examples out there of late game ZVZ, which turns into like 12 to 14 Vipers versus 12 to 14 Vipers. Like Viper versus Vipers is the late game ZVZ. And it's not ideal. To be fair, in recent months and in the past year, I would say that late game ZVZ has been a lot more rarer, to be fair. I think that's why. I think we had one recently with Serral and, I think it was Serral and Rogue or Serral and Raynor, but we had one late game ZVZ in the past like 2-3 months, and everyone was like, yo, I've never seen this before. It's like, no, we've seen this plenty of times. It's just, it's been a while. Like, nowadays ZVZ is a lot more chaotic and a lot more early and mid game centric. I know that Raynor recently kind of spoke out about it, about his thoughts, about Serral's thoughts, about the current state of ZVZ. But anyway, probably be discussing that during the podcast. Meanwhile, we do have our opener here by ArT. Once again, Twilight Council into a Robo this time. Gases are still being mined from, so it looks like Knockglaive Adepts. Show us what you got. Are we going into an Archon drop? Yeah, Dark Shrine has been thrown down, but this does look like an Archon drop opener instead. What I mean by that is that because of the Robo, that means now there's a Warp Prism that's going to come into play. It also means that the Dark Templar don't really have a way to generate their shields and to get cloaked. So it looks like an Archon drop opener instead, out of ArT. Meanwhile, Fjant opening up, droning up, and settling it back at home. Everything's looking relatively normal. We had later gas income and later link speed, but link speed isn't the most important upgrade early on here in ZVP. You can get away with delaying it. I love Phoenix versus Phoenix. That's not what we were discussing, but sure. I don't know if there were any changes made to address some of the issues in PvP in this patch. Like specifically Phoenix Wars, where that is considered to be overall a negative thing, even by the players, just because it is often decided very early. So in Phoenix Wars, like if you lose one Phoenix, you lose the game, right? Like it's very, very unforgiving. Arguably too unforgiving. I think most would say that's a negative aspect of the game. As here comes the Archon drop. And do we pick off one of the Archons already here? Were we too greedy? Oh my god, yeah, we were too greedy. ArT morphing in that second Archon too soon. We're morphing them in within range of the Lings. And that's going to be one Archon going down. A rough start here for ArT. Ay, ay, ay. ArT does drop in. He's going for the warp in inside the main. I mean, there's only Zerglings to defend. Where are the Queens? Yeah, Queens are out of position. Woefully out of position. We had 2 spores in the main base as well. Ay, ay, ay. No spore in the mineral line to zone away. And this is getting out of hand. Oh, drones are going down as well. He's chasing the drones. Oh no, he's going in. Okay, it's going to be zoned back. The Prism should... No, it does not get away. Massive pick-off. Initially, this is going well. How many drone kills? 2 drones, 18 Zerglings, and Overlord as well. But the Prism goes down. Massive loss for ArT. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, massive loss. And things are looking a little bit dire here. Behind this, Fjant is going into Overlord speed. Is going for an all-in. Yeah, it's just going for the all-in. We're going for the German taxi. Fjant knows that ArT is vulnerable. ArT will have Blink to defend, but alas, won't have much else behind this. And we're gearing up. And the scary thing here is that ArT is being aggressive himself, but what he doesn't know is that Fjant is all in. Fjant is going for the all in. Fourth base is cancelled. And cancelled once again. Roche is trying to hold their own. Roche speed is still not yet done. Airlings are amassing. ArT initially trading well. Behind this, ArT does have 6 gateways. But pushing into a concave. Uh-oh. Queens are coming with their transfuse. That's a lot of roaches going down. And ArT is taking gases, getting another expansion, thinking about a longer and later game. Remember, Fjant is not. Oh, the move command! No! Gets caught out. Fjant. Now remember, the longer this game goes on, the better it's going to be for ArT. Fjant just now taking an expansion, just now taking gases. But the drone count is so low. Let's catch 3 stalkers. Now Fjant starts droning very late. Very late drones, very late decision here from the Zerg player. Fjant is behind. Ay, ay, ay. Same time, ArT does backstab, denies the 4th base. And Fjant is in trouble here. There's a recall. It does pull back. Fjant's down in a really awkward position here where he's trying to drone, trying to saturate, isn't really committed to the all-in anymore. Now taking up into the infestation pit. And given the situation, given the position we're in, I feel like we got to go for the roach upgrade, right? We got to... We have no further tech here. There's rapid expulsion. Bile upgrade is on the way, but we're expecting more than that. Just because, again, Fjant, he's kind of stuck with his tech. Army does blink in, going for the Ravagers. Bile does punish the army a little bit here, but Ravagers going down, Roaches going down. Fjant, he cannot fight this head on, or like this. Lings, they do coming from behind though, okay? The Biles! Oh my god, not enough here, not enough Biles. Warpin does finish. Prison barely goes down, but ArT, he will claim this fight. He'll win this fight, he'll overwhelm. Again, a messy engagement here from Fjant. Very messy. Engaging before the upgrades are ready. And Fjant is hurting. Fjant is hurting. Hive is now available. But Fjant has to rebuild all that Roach Ravager. Has to rebuild. Okay. Roaches, they get caught out. We once again have a blink rate. Sorry, we have stalker range on the way. Tachyon emitters. As Fjant does commit, peels off into the mineral line, okay. ArT's out of position, probes are going to be going down. Getting some economic damage. Storm is done. Oh, the Biles though. The Biles catching out one of the High Templar, nice catch. And Fjant, he does trade okay against the economy, but he's still bleeding out so much army. And we're worried about the counterattack. Yeah, ArT does give chase. Catching out the Ravagers. Ravagers are getting caught. And we are switching into Hydra tech. Okay, I mean, we still might see that Roach upgrade, but it looks like we're trying to switch into Hydra and switch into Lurker. It seems like the attempted switch here from Fjant. I'm waiting for the Roach upgrade. I mean, there's the Lurker Den. Yeah, Lurker Den is on the way. And again, things are looking rough here for Fjant, but we'll see if we can find some damage. We shall see. Something that's helping Fjant is that ArT has not been probing. ArT, he was at 66 probes for quite some time, and his saturation of the fourth base is delayed. So delayed saturation. High Templar getting called out. Oh. Gets one. Catching out one Templar. Ooh, piles as well, they do land. Catching with the chat. What does the bio upgrade do? Lower cooldown. Shout out to Patches, as Patches is the creator of the mod, but it does lower the time it takes for the bio to actually land. So here. So whenever you activate your bio, like, it lands faster, so you have less time to react. As Lings, they do collapsing force out a couple of storms. Storms has also been changed as well. That's why there's a unique visual. There is that unique visual. And Immortals go down. We're pushing into the middle line once again. Oh, he's going in. Gets the Immortal. Yeah, nice catch on the Immortal. Zealots they do warp in. Collapsing in the army. No shields upgrade for the Zealots. Bear that in mind. An upgrade. Oh my god. But once again, ArT, he does dominate this fight. He cleans up all the Roaches, cleans up all the Ravagers. Did lose a couple of Immortals in the process. Did beat out Immortals, but ArT does hold. And on top of that, the economy was left untouched. I was concerned, or I was expecting some units to peel off into the mineral line, but no, they were not able to. ArT now on 76 probes. Going to be distracted by the borrowed Roaches, and Fjant is slowly building up that Lurker count back at home. Building up the Lurkers. Este Patches trying to link in the chat. The hell? I got you. Un momento. I think that's. Hold on, I'll just. Do this. Okay. So some notes. Are pushing in. Detection is available. He does dive on top of the Lurkers, and Lurkers are going down one after the other. Lurkers, they cannot hold their own. There's no support, no buffer. Every Lurker falls. Massive pickups. GG gets called, and ArT will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very shaky early game here from Fjant. Winding it back, if you recall, Fjant initially was going to go for a 3-base all-in. He cut workers at around 57. He was going for a massive all-in on 4 bases, going for road speed, going and setting up for the German taxi. Unfortunately for Fjant, what did we see out of ArT? ArT himself was the aggressor. He went up to 6 gateways. He delayed his gases at his 3rd base and was hyper-aggressive with Wing Stalkers, and he was able to out-trade his opponent, kill the 4th base twice. He forced 2 cancellations on the 4th base, traded with the Roaches, and by the time that Fjant defended, it was too late to counterattack. It was too late to all in, and he made the hard decision, the hard call to drone. The moment he droned, he fell behind. Again, he was already behind, I should say. He was far behind economically, far behind tech-wise as well. The droning was an afterthought, and because he was forced to drone, he was stuck in an awkward position where he had no tech, where he had no army, he had no economy, and he tried to recover. And, I mean, there were some nice moments where he was able to catch some Immortals, able to trade and get into some mineral lines as well. There was some damage being done, but overall, it was Fjant playing from behind after said failed all-in. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting to game number 3, and we'll see if Fjant can recover or if ArT will close it out. Let's go. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Patches in the chat. God, baby, God, Este Patches. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for 4 months. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Este Patches. So we're getting into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series, as spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Lumen TE. What does TE stand for? What does PT stand for? He is our personal trainer. In the bottom right hand corner from the land of Sweden for Team Brody, it is Fjant. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the opponent. We have the pink Protoss player, the Polish Protoss representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ArT. Here we go. Not the first time we featured Lumen here. I believe we're able to see it during Pegasus Cup, if I recall. I think Lumen is a part of that. But we do have some interesting features here that we have seen in the past. One of those, of course, being the natural base, which is right next to the main, of course. It wasn't Washout. What was the map last season that was in the TLMC, the Simulated Map Contest for 2 seasons? Oh god, it's like it's on the it's on the edge of my mind. But that one. Well, I want to say Stargazers, not Stargazers. Talisman, that's it, Talisman. But yeah, Talisman does have some unique features similar to that, where we do have our natural base. Our natural base being taken here, but we do have a hybrid expansion with gold patches, with mineral patches, and a worker path leading down into it. So very inspired by Talisman. Very, very inspired. We all know that Patches is a big fan of the board game. True. Big fan. I wonder why I knew that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Este Patches. How did he know? Again, big Talisman fan. PT equals Patches, T equals Tournament Edition. I should actually adjust what I said. What does T and PT stand for? Wrong answers only. Wrong answers only. Aye. T. Texas expansion. Oh no. That's when all of America is Texas. It's true. It's true. It's all Texas. We all know this. We all know. Aye. But there we go. Here we go. It is going to be a Stargate opener. Stargate opener out of ArT. It's going to be opening up with an Oracle standard opener, and likewise does not quite take that hybrid base yet. Not yet. Oh no. Este Patches. Meanwhile, big shout out to Defiance. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 3 months with Twitch Prime. Este Defiance. God, yeah. Hope you enjoy the content, the StarCraft, and the channel as well. Hope you enjoy. As we're here featuring something a little bit different here. We're featuring a new mod. We're also featuring some potential new TLMC maps as well. As I would imagine, some of these maps are going to be submitted into the TLMC, and we're able to get a little bit of an insight on them early on. As Fjant does expand towards his opponents, bearing in mind we have 2 hybrid bases back to back. Once again, very similar here to Talisman, as we mentioned previously. Very similar. When it comes to the bases themselves, I will say that this initial 2 and 3 base setup is a little bit more secure than Talisman. There's the high ground, of course. We do have some choke points. The ramps are around medium size, so they're relatively accessible. There are multiple entrances as well. Bear that in mind. We'll see how ArT decides to expand himself. We shall see. Also open to host an unmodded cup featuring a full map pool of future TLMC 22 submissions. Not just for me, I think there's a lot of good maps. That's really sick to hear. That's really cool. Yeah, it's a really good way to. I mean, it's hard to judge which maps to showcase before the finalists and before the top 16 are announced, because there are just so many maps, right? There are so many to kind of pick from and to choose between. But I do think it's definitely worth it, especially when it comes to, like, I mean, for example, was it last season we didn't get Dream and Scars, right? Like there was a lot of there was just a lot of really high quality maps that didn't quite make it into the top 16. What was the other one? Like there was like the assault on the manor. That map was awful, by the way. Like it was really cool aesthetically. The one where you could like break through the window. You like break down the window, and there was like it was like defending a mansion. Yeah, that map was crazy. That was a wild map. Where you had no expansion options. Like it was very, very linear expansions as well. Like and very defendable. Like crazy. Yeah, the Omni map. Like, it had like almost 10 out of 10 when it comes to aesthetics, but it was just an awful map. As Lings do punish. Yeah, the wall's not quite a wall. Lings do flood in, and they get a full scout here. Behind this, we're staying on 2 bases. No third expansion. Going to 2 base Immortal production. Hyper aggression out of ArT. No Twilight Council upgrade, just going into Immortal, into ArT, into a very heavy here 2 base play. ArT gets scouted, and ArT does expand. Interesting. ArT does take a third. Behind this, Fjant building up his roaches, claiming a 4th base. And we'll see if ArT commits. ArT has been delayed. F for Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest was actually good. Like, it was not amazing, but I feel like they were like, I remember seeing some of the other judges' comments on Dragon Quest. I think one of the criticisms was like the lack of variety when it comes to expanding. I think they said it was like a linear expansion pattern. At the same time, there were much more linear like maps out there compared to Dragon Quest. Like, it was like, nah, I stand by Dragon Quest. I stand by it. There were worse maps out there. Wasn't amazing. It wasn't an amazing map, but you could show it to the people. The aesthetic was fire. I see what you did there. See what you did there. Meanwhile, we just see Fjant. He's going to be joining up to 60, joining up to just under 3 base saturation, and we do see Overlord Speed. Overlord Speed is on the way. We should be setting up some Drop Lord. Similar to last game, he's going to be committing here, but this time he is committing with a solid economy, and this time he's not slowed down. So Fjant, he's pushing, he's breaking out. Meanwhile, we do see that ArT, he is stuck in between 2 bases here. He's trying to defend his triangular third and his natural. It's just an awkward setup here, an awkward positioning. ArT rotating over. I don't blame him for expanding away from the Zerg, but he's going to get caught out here. Yeah, there's no batteries, no defensive setup. Arcon's getting picked up, and again, just a really awkward early game here from ArT to commit into essentially a 2-base all-in, but still expand. As similar to last game, actually, for Fjant. True. As Fjant does overwhelm, he breaks on through the main army. There's no buffer, there's no support, there's no economy. Roaches a waddle into the mineral line, and the natural has been broken. As from here, the Archon gets picked up. Both Archons do fall. Again, the Immortals are on their own. There's no buffer, there's no support. As the Cybercore got sniped, you have to warp in Zealots. And we have a series, baby. We have a series. And again, this also showcases how awkward it is to defend as a player if you're expanding here on the natural and also at the triangular location, trying to rotate back and forth. It's very awkward. And Fjant is still rallying. He's still rallying across. Overwhelms the Zealots, gets us over the Archon. Clutch save there by ArT. But now we can just rotate. Yeah, we can just rotate over towards the hybrid base. Getting one of the Archons. The Archon surrounded the Immortals as well. Once they get the juggling, the ArT. He's microing his heart out, but it doesn't matter. Like, there's just too much Zerg, too much Swarm. As Fjant has broken that hybrid expansion. But a 1 and more on the high ground. GG gets called, and Fjant does put a point on the board. GG. Whew. And GG, well played. ArT does fight. Sorry, Fjant does fight back. Winding it back here again, we had a really peculiar build out of ArT. ArT went for a 2-base opener into Robo, Twilight Council, Templar Archives, into Immortal Archon. It looked like a 2-base all-in, but he didn't push. One of the reasons for it was because, if you remember, he got scouted. If you recall, Lings, they did flood in. They killed a Stalker, they killed an Adept, they got a full scout of the main base, and I would imagine that because of the full scout, ArT, he was deterred, right? He felt that Fjant would be ready for the all-in, so he kind of tried tried to deviate away, did go for the third expansion, and that meant he was just building up into the mid game from behind with a late third expansion with late saturation. Meanwhile, Fjant turned his defense into an offense and went for a 3-base all-in. Went for a 3-base all-in. GG, well played. With that, Fjant he does overwhelm, and we have our next game ahead of us here, going to be loading into washouts. Here we go. Fjant has begun the comeback. ArT is still one game away from claiming the series. Una más, papi, una más. Here we go. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of washouts, we have the yellow Zerg player. We have the yellow Zerg player. We have the Swedish Zerg representing Team Roddy, putting a point on the board. Can he force the ace match? It is Fjant. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the pink Protoss player. We have the Polish Protoss representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ArT. Let's go, let's go. As once again, we're gonna be loading into another Patches map. Here we're gonna be loading into Rainer's map. Kappa. much love to Rainer, much love. We're gonna be loading into Washout. Washout does have an interesting layout here. Specifically in the center of the map, we have a bunch of rocks walling off and kind of limiting the amount of attack options you do have, at least in the mid game until the rocks get knocked down. We do have a relatively standard kind of like 3-base setup and even a 4th base. This is one of the more unique features, is the hybrid bases with the destructible towers. Basically, you can come in, you can destroy these towers, and you can destroy the mineral patches as well. I think someone posed the question whether the towers being knocked down would actually kill the mining probes or the mining workers. That I'm not certain of. I don't know if the tower goes far enough to potentially kill a worker that happened to be mining at the time, but regardless, mineral patches will be destroyed. So I believe every hybrid location does have towers that can be knocked down to destroy those patches. Which again is a unique feature. Likewise, we do have some gold patches here on the left, on the top and the bottom side to open up attack paths, potentially. Likewise, the main base is a little bit more accessible. You have a bit of a larger main. Not really too applicable here to PvZ. The ArT does gain vision. Just settling in. And again, ArT has been very flexible when it comes to his tech of choice. Stargate openers, Twilight Council, Robo. We're seeing a little variety here out of ArT. Once again, it's going to be a Stargate opener though, going for a standard start here on Washout. Calming down. I think so far I've been most impressed by the initial DT opener from ArT in game 1. It didn't work, but it was just a really smart way to kind of make use of the changes and make use of the mod, make use of the patch. It was a very unique approach. And a unique answer that the problem was kind of like posed before him. As we have a Void Ray opener. Okay, gonna be opening a Void Ray, denying vision, denying scouting. Here we go. As the Void Ray is on the way. Again, the purpose here is to hunt down the Overlords to make it more difficult for Fjant to figure out what's going on. From here, we can rush into Sky Toss, we can go into a Hidden Tech, or we can go into a 3rd expansion. ArT has options. Overlord being sent away. And ArT does not find the Overlord. Okay, just barely not. ArT is on the hunt. Does miss the Overlord. Fjant does scatter. Is this a reference, by the way? The ELO4? As the Zerglings did slip back in. I would hope that each of these has a different number. No, they're all ELO4. Ah. That's where all the MMR went. True. It's gone. Gosh. No click. If only we had the map creator available to us here, who maybe had some insight and some answers. Actually, no idea, mate. Okay, never mind. Meanwhile, Tempest Rush. It's gonna be a second Stargate until Fleet Beacon is in Tempest Rush. Let's go. Let's go. Every time I hear ArT, I see the clown demon from Terrified movies. Oh no. Not like this. Oh. Are you calling ArT a clown? Are you gonna... Oh no. As it is going to be not a Tempest Rush, but a Carrier Rush. So carriers are amassing as we speak. So far, Fjant has not been able to confirm. He's aware of the earlier Void Ray. That is true.
The tumor is under attack.
But is not quite aware as to what the follow-up is. The hologram Moopy? Oh no! I don't think I've seen it. Where is the Moopy? I have yet to notice. I'll keep my eye out. As another Overlord does get found. Scout is going to be denied. Oh, there it is. Let's go. Is this part of the lore? Like, we're curious, right? Like, what happens to all the inhabitants of this planet? Like, there's dead bodies everywhere. And who's dancing on their graves? The Moopies. True. They won. Ah, no. It was all the Moopies. Really, we just need more dancing Moopies around this. We need to... Oh, no. As the players are building up, thankfully we do have a safety spire on the way here for Fjant, but is it going to be done in time? Because we do have the carriers en route. Right, carriers are amassing. Speaking of, I would imagine that this is a carrier upgrade. Hold on, let me just double check. I didn't notice. Okay, new upgrade. We got two of them. We got Kadaran shielding. That does kind of look like a shield, or graviton catapults. Okay, increases shield generation by 11.2, reduces the shield generation delay from 10 to 1. Okay. So increased shield generation for one of them. The other is launch speed of the interceptors now increased. The first 4 interceptors are launched at a cooldown of 0.125. The last 4 at 0.25. Jesus. Okay. So we got some carrier buffs, or some carrier upgrades. Launch interceptor range was reduced. Okay, so we did have a bit of a back and forth there. Regardless, Fjant is committing, and just now he's about to find out what he's pushing into, because here come the carriers. Oh no! Yeah, carriers have arrived. Biles, they do land, but the carriers, they can take it. Yeah, they can take the Biles. Ravagers, they keep it into the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down, but how many before every Ravager falls? Oh my god. As that's going to be 21 probe kills. The expansion may go down as well. But what about the counterattack? Because we're about to have 3 more carriers on the way. 7 carriers in total. That's a lot of carriers. That's a lot of carriers, Pappy. As many carriers as there are corruptors. We have 8 corruptors in production. Carriers now going to be moving out. And now moving on. I wonder if you noticed, but carrier speed has been increased. I did notice that as they were pushing. Like, I was like, hold on, the carriers, they look faster than normal. They are. So they're a little bit faster. They have more health, more HP. Shorter acceleration, so they move faster as well. They react faster. Jesus. Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah, I mean... That's insane, Patty. That's insane. And here we go. The corruptors, they do try to collapse in. They do get one. One carrier does go down. Shout out to the queens. They do supports. Getting a second carrier and a third carrier. Meanwhile, back at home, ArT defends. Yeah, ArT does try to defend here, but never mind. Too much economic damage here, and ArT taps out. We're going to the ace match. We're going to the ace match here. Again, ArT went down to 50 probes, and he was still losing more workers. If he hadn't lost those carriers across the map, then I do think he could have made a game out of this, but losing half your carriers, that's brutal. That is brutal. GG, well played. We're going to game 5. We're going to game 5. But those carriers were terrifying, by the way. Obviously, we didn't really get to see them come to their full like fruition and really flourish. Yeah, Sky Toss is definitely going to be interesting. Hold on, what were the changes to the Mothership and to the Tempest, if any? Tempest was untouched. Okay. No change to the Tempest. Added upgrades to the carrier. All right, that's a reconstruction as well. Damn. That's crazy. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the yellow Zerg player. We have the Swedish Zerg. Oh, the Swedish Zerg representing Team Ruddy, tying up the series and forcing the ace match. It is a Fjant. And spawning in the top left hand corner. Hello. We have the Polish Protoss player, the pink Protoss representing the Planet Heroes. It is ArT. As Fjant is coming in with a proxy hatchery. Here we go again. We've had an intense back and forth. Fjant, who was not fully aware as to what he was up against last game. He wasn't fully aware of the carrier rush. He committed into his own roach aggression. He was able to cripple the third base, kill 21 probes, kill the third expansion as well, and was able to get into his corruptors just in time. Remember, thankfully did have that safety spire and was able to catch out those carriers. We saw 3 carriers, 4 carriers going down. But here we go. Hatchery has been placed. Now bear this in mind, this is not an all-in. This is the equivalent of an eBay block. Remember, it is a hatchery into a hatchery before pool and before gas. So this is not a rush. This is a way to disrupt the economy. Ooh, and ArT, he does react and respond by pulling the boys. This is already worth it. This is already worth it here. Often we do see players react and respond with 2 gate openers, with 2 gateways into a cyber core, but here ArT goes for pulling the boys, and this is better for the Zerg. So mining time is being denied. So the hatchery itself is getting damage. And because we're not going for the 2-gate response, it also means there's no counterattack available either. True. Yeah, it cancels the zealots. So no zealots, no counterattack. Waiting for the cybercore instead. There's the Evo chamber. And again, there's a very messy response here from ArT. Oh. Oh. So here comes the expansion. ArT finally does claim his third. Sorry, his natural, I meant to say. And likewise, doesn't really have much counterattack potential either. So Fjant is free to join. Free to join up, free to saturate. So far, so good. Their acceleration is actually lower, so they're faster, but accelerate slower. Oh, okay, my apologies. My apologies. Now though, for now we are going to be settling in. So now we're joining, we're saturating, we do have the Oracle eventually on the way. The Overlord of course does confirm the Stargate, that does confirm the Oracle. Fjant is fully aware. Oh, hello, we have a Robo before expanding. The ArT. Again, ArT's been very aggressive and very diverse in his play. The Overlord is hunted down, and the Overlord does scout the Robo, actually. Okay. Does come with the Robo. Robo into Twilight Council. We still have our gases being taken. And are we going into Glaives? Are we going into Dark Shrine? Where are you taking us? The Oracle does get across the map. 3 drone kills. Catching out 3 workers. Oof, the Oracle does fall. Brutal pickup. Oh, and it is going to be the Dark Shrine. So delayed Dark Templar, delayed Archon drop basically. So it's going to be an Archon drop follow-up here after the initial Oracle. Fjant has a piece of the puzzle. And is already making roaches defensively. Cutting workers at 41. Cutting workers this early on and making roaches is suspicious. Yeah, we walking? Yep, we're waddling. We're waddling across the map. Again, I did notice the roaches early. 41 drones. It's going to be a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in, a 3rd base just for larva. No drones, no saturation. It may as well be elsewhere. The queens are waddling. Roaches and lings as well. And if there's no battery... No, sorry. Yeah, if there's no battery back at home, then there's going to be no cloaked DTs. Oh, wait, I guess they can warp in defensively. True, true. They can warp in defensively. Army gets spotted. There is no lair. DTs, they just defend. Yeah, they they just defend. There's no detection. Oh no, lair begins. The all-in is failing. No detection. In my mind, I was thinking, oh no, DTs are going to warp in without any shields, but defensively, they're fine. So they warp in defensively. The all-in has failed. ArT, sorry, Fjant now starts droning. Now he starts taking up. A brutal decision here. Brutal moment for Fjant. Ay, ay, ay. He invested so heavily into this army and it does nothing. He's coming back home. And Fjant falls behind. Straight up. He just falls behind here. DTs, they just hard counter. As we get the Archon drop across the map. I mean, I guess thankfully he noticed it, ArT Templar, so he could react and respond, but this is a brutal position. Fjant. Fjant does commit in. He does catch a couple of adepts at least. Does get a couple of units. Oh, gets punished though. Oof. Punished quite hard. And Fjant's response here is going to Aspire. Bold move. Bold move here. I mean, it makes sense, bearing in mind there's no blink, right? Because of the tech, because of the build, it's going to be Dark Templar into Archons, Immortals, and Chargelots. No blink Stalkers. So anti-air is limited. But at the same time, who hits first? Who does strike first? As ArT is massing up an army. Looking quite terrifying. He's got his Immortals, got his Archons. Catching out the roaches on the right-hand side. Nice juggling here by ArT. The juggling. Oh, no. Oof. Every roach goes down, and that should trigger a counterattack. And the Spire is still on the way. And the scary thing is that, sure, the mutas they can harass, but they cannot engage with the main army, not against all these Archons. ArT turns around. ArT's distracted. This is giving Fjant time to build up his mutas. He's being given time. Does the Prism have more capacity? Wait, what? Hold on. Yeah, it does. Okay. Increased capacity Prism. Let's go. Let's go. Jesus. Jumping into the main base. I mean, I guess that's a way to help out with the fact that warped in units do lack shields. True. Moving on, the main army does collapse in. We got formals behind us. They just go to channel the riches. But where's the support? We need more zealots. We need charge lots. Where's the warp in? Oh, there it is. Does go for the warp in, but it might just be too late. The Immortals are exposed. Save the Immortals. The Vials. Oh my god. Yeah, the Immortals are low. One Immortal goes down. The second Immortal as well. Barely gets away. Never mind. Yeah, it does get away here. We're running out of roaches. And has ArT done it? Prism got sniped. No more reinforcements. We need those warp ins. ArT, he's banking. He's banking resources. Oh my god. And with that Fjant, he's barely holding on here. Does hold, does survive. Again, the lack of Prism, lack of reinforcements was killing him. Was killing ArT. No Spore. No shot. Do we have detection? No Spore at the third, no Spore at the fourth base. Likewise, there is no Overseer. DTs are making their way in. And we're going for the mineral line. Yeah, going for the mineral line here. Oof, we're already getting 6 drones, 7. 7 drones going down. Now going for the expansion, Spores repositioning, Clutch Transfuse. He's going to be out with. Saves one of the Archons. Does save an Archon, nice damage. As the mutas are now out, they've been scouted. And hey, they do get some damage. They get some. Mutas are getting called out. 3 or 4 mutas go down. Not quite worth it in the end here for Fjant, trading 1 for 1. Not quite worth it. And from here, where are we taking? So far, we're still lacking the Ravager upgrade. So Ravagers are morphing in. He's committing. This time he does have a better economy behind this, so he can sustain these losses. He can sustain this army. The Storm is not yet ready. The Templar, oh my god. Turning them away. Files are connecting. But he's still pushing into 4 Immortals. Yeah, he cannot. Yeah, he cannot break this army. Not against 4 Immortals. Aye, aye, aye. Oof. And the army gets punished. Archon gets focused down. But there are just so many Ravagers falling here. They're losing almost everything at the same time. If Fjant did peel off some roaches into the mineral line, does get a handful of probe kills, but only a handful. And ArT is getting out of hand. We need those reinforcements. We've got 1,000 minerals in the bank. Where are the war pins? Oh. As ArT is making his way into the main. Not pushing at the same time. Going for Sky Toss? Oh, okay. Going for the Stargate. So throwing down the second Stargate. Just harassing in the bases. We're expecting a fleet beacon? Question mark? I would assume. Or upon seeing the massive amount of Roach Ravager, are we thinking Void Rays? Should be a really weird response and reaction, but I mean, I guess that's what's the plan here? We open Stargate. We don't need one for a fleet beacon. It's possible that might have been a misclick, and this Stargate was supposed to be fleet beacon instead. As ArT is banking a lot of resources. Again, ArT has been missing warpins. He does kill the expansion. Yeah, it was a misclick. Yeah. So it looks like that was supposed to be the fleet beacon. Just a sec up. Storm does turn away. Again, ArT still banking a lot of resources here. How many gateways is he on? 8. I mean, he's just been missing warpins. Which is dangerous. It does mean that Fjant, there's going to be a window in time where he could just move out and break out. So he has this Mass Ravager. And a Rapid Expulsion has been researched. We got some Infestors on the way. Let's go. We've still yet to see Infested Terran. I still don't see. I don't think we will, but oh my god. Smiles like catch out one of the Immortals. Does catch out the Immortals. Zalse do get across the map. Hoping to catch out the expansion. Queens are falling. Queens are falling. Carrier production has begun. Shadow Stride as well. Here comes Fjant. And Skytoss is now revealed. True, now he knows. He's wearing the Skytoss. He already has the Spire. Immortal's getting picked off. Once again, ArT does a great job here, just harassing, distracting his opponent. Fjant, he rallies everything home to defend. Oh god. A bit of an F2. He rallies back home to defend. This is giving his opponent more time to build up carriers, to build up Skytoss. Fjant, he does have access to Corruptors, but no Corruptors yet. Where are the Corruptors, Pappy? Or at least Neural, or... I was gonna say just trying to just think of an answer here for the carrier. Fungal does land. Biles, they can graze the carriers, true. But we'll lose one Infestor. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 Infestors gonna be going down. Fungal does graze the Immortals. At the same time, the Archons are going crazy across the map. 14 drone kills. Zealotay popped off, killing another expansion. Another base going down. And Fjant is just being pulled apart. Just being pulled apart here. He cannot keep up. Not against all these losses. Again, it was just a shaky start with Fjant's failed all-in, and he's been trying to recover, but you can see, at least tech-wise, has been one or two steps behind due to the economy. Never quite dealt enough economic damage across the map. He lost 17 probes against the 47 drone kills throughout the course of this game. It's been crazy. Fjant's been trying to hold on, trying. And there is potential with Mass Ravager, right? If we can bile the army and land biles on all the carriers, if the army stacks, then sure. This can work, but Fjant, he's got one fight. He's got one fight in him. One Hail Mary play. Shows the Biles. Biles on the Mothership. The Mothership does take a lot of hits. There's a lot of damage. Ooh, Infestors go down. Lands one Fungal. But last, it just is not enough here. Yeah, not enough Ravagers. Biles, they punish the army. Zelaron might continue. Here we go, Zealous shields on the way. And oh my god, the Biles are crazy. Biles, they take down one of the carriers, they take down one of the motherships, so GG gets called, and ArT overwhelms. He breaks through the main army, and ArT will claim the series 3-2, taking down Fjant. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a really unfortunate start for Fjant. Fjant, he was aware that there was a faster robo, he was aware that there was a late expansion, but he didn't know if it was Glaives or Blink or Dark Templar. So he gambled, he went for a big all-in here at the start of the game. No detection available, there was no lair, no detection. Went for a big, not quite German taxi, but a Queen Walk across the map, and there were DTs to defend. So he was forced to back off, forced to drone, late decision, late saturation, and he was playing catch-up from there. He was playing catch-up. Unfortunately, he was not quite able to catch back up. We saw that his opponent was able to secure their own 3-base economy, get a 4th base, and eventually tech up into a heavy Immortal composition. Skytoss was a little bit later, and again, it was on Fjant to try to recover. And there were some moments where he was able to harass or pick up some key units, but they were few and far between. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, congratulations. With that, Fjant does claim this. With that, ArT does claim the series. Dude, my apologies. But ArT, he does claim the series. Does take the series 3-2, and will claim that best of 5. GG. GG, well played. With that, we have one series left. We're going to be cutting to a short break. Here, and when we come back, we will have our final series. We'll have a PvZ. See you soon. See you soon after the break.